But to your point, like there is still a lot of experience for him to gain. It was such a small sample size.
I think they believe that they had a needed pass rush that they addressed in the draft.
He's going to be playing these games when the seasons matter most, and that's still going to be a new experience for him, even though he got a little taste of it last year.
They believe that Michael Penix, if he's as ready as they thought he was when they drafted him, will slide right in there and they'll be a competitive team right away.
He has to throw more to the middle of the field. Only 44% of his throws were between the numbers. That was the second lowest rate in football, behind only Justin Fields.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Atlanta Falcons in tonight's video. Now, I know it's not a perfect team like all 31 other teams in the NFL, and the main headline's been Michael Penix Jr. We're going to talk mainly about him. I do just want to preface this with literally just go watch any game he played in, regular season, preseason, don't matter. You watch any film on Michael Penix Jr., and the risk is clearly there, or it's not even really a risk. He's a big-time gamer, he's a big-time baller, and he makes big-time throws, and that's what you're going to see. But what we're wondering is the consistency level, right? And I saw this quote here. This was from some, NFL guy, and he said this: "We don't know who Michael Penix is. He was kind of good last year. You know who was kind of good in 3 games last year? Anthony Richardson." And I thought that was interesting because when you watch like actual all 22 film, and like this isn't going at anybody, the guy who said the quote or anything like that, but it's very evident. You could even watch a video on YouTube. I was contemplating doing a film study on Michael Penix Jr. because when you put it together, it's clear as day. You know, his footwork last season was very, very poor, very poor. Bo Nix in his first 3, 4, 5 games with the Denver Broncos last year, very poor. It was very similar. But Michael Penix Jr. throws a much better ball than Bo Nix, and I think Bo Nix is a very capable, good quarterback, especially a phenomenal rookie season. I'm not trying to compare the two, but what I'm trying to say is it's a very small sample size, and people are using Michael Penix Jr.'s small sample size as a reason to not be in or go all in, which I understand, but I'm not timid. I'm not a timid channel over here. I'll give you a hot take. I think Michael Penix Jr. is a very good quarterback, and I don't think that's a hot take. And when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, it's really interesting because they've won at least 7 games in each of the past 4 seasons. They're in a very winnable NFC South, but they have not gotten over that hump. And whether it happens this year or the year after that, I know for a fact Michael Penix Jr. and the Atlanta Falcons will eventually get over that 7-game win hump. So without further ado, let's talk about him. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Try and make as many Atlanta videos as we possibly can. If we try and get this one to 250 likes, folks, means the absolute world to me. But here's the thing, like we go back a year and a quarter ago, 1 year ago in March, the Atlanta Falcons made a crazy move. They picked up Kirk Cousins. 4-time Pro Bowler, revitalize the franchise, compete in the NFC South. And then a couple of weeks later, they pick up Michael Penix Jr. in the first round of the draft. So eventually, Kirk Cousins gets benched. Shoulder injuries, nagging shoulder injuries, nagging elbow injuries, and ultimately Atlanta, misses the playoffs. But later in the season, as we know, we saw, 2024 first round draft pick Michael Penix Jr. get the reins, and he made the most out of his 3 starts. And here's the thing, here are his numbers: 775 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 78.9 passer rating, really good chemistry with Kyle Pitts, but specifically Drake London. And here's the thing, Zach Robinson even said this quote: "The style of play he matches our skill guys." That sounded kind of weird. "The style of play he matches our skill guys, and the skill guys love playing football with him. Just looking at these guys to keep coming together, the guys on the team love him. He walks around with a swagger." And this has literally nothing to do with Kirk Cousins, because I love Kirk Cousins even as a Green Bay Packers fan. I guess maybe no disrespect, but as a Packers fan, I wouldn't really have a reason to hate Kirk Cousins. But here's the thing, Michael Penix Jr. looks like an Atlanta Falcon. He looks like the franchise quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. It just makes sense. Now, in those 3 games he started last year, he recorded an 84 PFF passing grade. He also had 9 big-time throws, and that's really the number I want to focus on. The Falcons ultimately finished 13th in offensive DVOA last season, but they're getting like almost every single player returning except for Drew Dalman, the center last year, which we'll talk about in a second. But the biggest knock on Michael Penix Jr. was this, and we were talking about his accuracy and his footwork. The accuracy was the big knock, all right? He hit 58% of his passes in those 3 games, which ranked 30th out of all quarterbacks from week 15 to week 18. The only dude who was worse as far as starting quarterbacks in the regular season was Anthony Richardson, all right? Penix would have ranked 315th amongst regular starters in the last 10 years. But on the contrary, he led the league in air yards per attempt at 10.2. And that would have ranked second in the entire NFL. And it's kind of funny because Anthony Richardson would have been number 1 in that stat. But here's the thing. He's uber aggressive. And that percentage, less than 58% of his passes, that's why people are like timid as far as saying, I don't know if Michael Penix Jr. is the dude. I don't know. We've seen small sample sizes from Anthony Richardson. I don't know. You cannot compare Michael Penix Jr. and Anthony Richardson in the same sentence. It's 2 completely different quarterbacks. But like I said, folks, you go back to those 3 games, his footwork was not it. It's not it. And I'm not an NFL quarterback. I'm not an NFL coach. I'm nowhere close to the NFL other than this YouTube channel. But the footwork was evident as far as why the accuracy was struggling. And like I said at the beginning of this video, when you go back and you watch like Bo Nix's first, I would say at least month in the regular season with the Denver Broncos, it was very, very similar as far as trying to get the footwork right. And that's typically what happens with rookies. So when I look at a rookie quarterback coming in from week 15 to week 18, I already have to take it with numerous grains of salt. Numerous grains of salt. It's like a bad egg breakfast. You got to throw a bunch of salt on it, dude. It's tough. I'm not going to nitpick, but at the same time, I guess now that I'm saying it out loud, I shouldn't praise all of his good attributes while not, bringing up his negative attributes. But my point is, and my verdict is, he's going to be just fine. Another big reason is the offensive line. We could get into the coaching staff as well. I think Zach Robinson is going to do really well with Michael Penix. But for the second time in 3 years, the Atlanta Falcons had the NFL's top-graded offensive line. Right guard Chris Lindstrom leading the way, 93.5 PFF grade. That was number 1 amongst all NFL guards. Now, here's the thing. You lost your center, and you picked it up with news. And here's the thing. Center Drew Dalman was solid. Every 4 out of the 5 starters, the 5th guy not mentioned, Drew Dalman, had a PFF grade above 70. So it's really, especially in the run department, they're a very good rushing offensive line. But here's the thing. When you look at the deeper stats of your undrafted free agent center last season, it's similar to Drew Dalman. All right, so I don't think there's really going to be that much of a drop-off, except maybe a little bit out of the gate in the running department because Drew Dalman was a very good rush offensive lineman. Now, I did want to talk a little bit at least about the defense with the pass rush, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. I wanted to talk about these 2 guys, but we'll save it for a whole defensive video. If you guys want that, let me know down below. But as always, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. And guys, give me a prediction on Michael Penix Jr. If you got any stats, if you got a quarterback ranking, let me know what you think Michael Penix Jr. is going to do for Atlanta next season. But that's it for me. Have a great rest.